Hey guys, I'm at the Vistabule warehouse manufacturing facility today, and I'm going to get a tour from Steve, which is the general manager here at Vistabule. So come with us and we're going to show you how these trailers are built. All right, Steve, take us through the process of building a Vistabule trailer, where we start and how it ends up to be a finished product here.
Sure. So we're at the assembly location. We do some fabrication, but think of it as cutting, bending mostly. It's not a lot of the heavy work that goes on in the sense of fabricating. Fabricating wood parts happens at another location, all the CNC work that's done there. Frames are fabricated elsewhere. It's a clean, people are listening to music, it's a chill kind of vibe here, and it's kind of clean and really a pretty wonderful place to work, including, large windows and natural light, natural breeze flowing in when you open it. It's a beautiful old facility we're in too, so lucky to have that.
Everybody here seems to really enjoy what they're doing. Is that true? I mean,
yeah, work. There's always a work element, but if you compare it to, we were just talking a little bit about my background and working in a corporate environment versus an environment like this, where the product is making people smile, if not maybe tear up. It's a unique product, and it has a lot of special emotional connection for people because of what they know they're going to go do with it. So that's very different.
Perfect. All right.
So we're coming in the door. Most of the beginnings happen actually over here. So inventory is coming in the door. There's obviously lots of things that are happening before it gets here. So we're getting components in here that are going to go together in truly assembly fashion. We're with screws and a little bit of glue and some sealing tapes, things like that. We're assembling and using things to get from, we're looking at components like a battery bin here. You can see screens, door window screens over there with the frames around them. Sofa beds, these are kind of stood up here. Lots of storage on this side. All the fabricated, CNC fabricated wood parts, the decking. We have skins. So all these are laser cut skins. So everything is, all the drawings are done. They come out of the Burt lab over across the hall. And we have to obviously keep ourselves well positioned in terms of inventory. We're managing a lot of change. We're doing design changes on a frequent basis, ever continuously improving. And I guess a big part of what I deal with is making sure that those things hit the floor gracefully and that we have everything we need.
Do more of your design changes come from the customers or from you guys?
I would say that more come from us, but a lot from customers. So sometimes it's a customer idea or inspiration, thought or just feedback, usability feedback. And from there we digest it and figure out what is it that we think the answer should be, right? Sometimes Bert will use the reference of, it's probably a little bit high-reaching, kind of the Apple concept of they know what you want before you do, right? So,
right.
But we do try to really think ahead and envision how it can best function for the customer, knowing everything we know. Some customer ideas are like, we've been there, we won't do that. Or sometimes it's like, wonderful, right? Let's let that germinate. Perfect. And we'll figure out what we're going to do with it. Components that are coming in the door, a lot of what's happening on, I'm going to call it this side of the shop, we kind of have a division between what we refer to as the prep area and the assembly area. So prep side is getting everything ready that isn't already completely ready to go into the final trailer assembly process. Some of it's subassembly, might be building cabinets. We talked a little bit about the window screens. Door windows get assembled to a large degree over here before they go over there and get popped into the openings. A lot of the electrical system rough in, propane system rough in, water system rough in. All those things are kind of happening on this side to the extent that we can get them over here.
This is the beginning where it all starts, right here. It's pre-assembly.
Correct. So over the past few years, we've done a lot of work, kind of lean manufacturing concepts in play, where it was trying again to simplify the assembly process itself. And again, it was what can we absorb over here to make it easier, quicker, with a focused, I'll call it a high velocity lens on assembling a trailer, right? Make that as efficient as we possibly can. I mean, obviously we're trying to make it efficient over here as well, but a little bit of that trade-off between what can we do ahead of time to make it easier to assemble it, right? So there's electrical work that goes on kind of in this area, a lot of that pre-work, cutting wire, all the connectors, all the components coming to their landing places in the trailer, whether it's battery chargers, charge controllers, those kinds of things. Skin prep, so we're doing things to skins. We're assembling like a top skin. We're prepping side skins, all the things that have to happen there. For them to just kind of lay on and proceed with the assembly process. Other kind of focus areas that we have in this neighborhood over here are doors and hatches. So again, CNC fabricated door blanks. Hatches, that's not just a simple, that's a lot of CNC work plus some very precise assembly work that goes on there before it goes to the finisher. But we're then putting skins on it and prepping it, getting electrical wiring in where it needs to be, getting hardware installed, and again, having it ready as a component that can go onto the trailer simply, easily on the other side.
And Steve, are these components, these wood components in particular, are they being manufactured or CNC'd at this facility?
No. It's nearby. We do a lot of, we have a lot of local partners that that do a lot of heavy lifting for us. Again, they happen to be the CNC, the wood CNC fabricator. It also includes some plastics and whatnot, but they are a dedicated, literally, we are their customer, but they're a separate entity. We own the CNC that's up there, so a very tight
nice.
Coupling relationship that...
Are the skins done on a CNC machine?
Effectively, it's different, so different materials kind of go through different things. So skins are going through a laser cutting process. Okay. So it is absolutely that same concept of we have a program that has been dropped down into a machine that is going to cut an exact shape in the exact holes, everything, all the details are in the drawing, and that just gets pushed to a machine, and we're cutting multiples of it. So the efficiency of, modern technology when it comes to CAD design, shaking hands with a machine that can do all of those things exactly as it should be done every time.
Got it. And then over here, this is the outside wall or the inside wall from the galley to the bed area. Yeah,
so another kind of, again, subassembly is a pretty big one. The most complicated one that's done over here. You can see the cooktop is already dropped in, the sink will get dropped in, propane lines. We've got, electrical rough-in is done, so you can see the electrical panel here, all these outlets, the switches, battery monitor, lights where they're necessary in this particular subassembly. So all this is built over here from individual components, this panel, this frame, this countertop, and those will come in flat packed, if you will, right? And everything then gets put together in the appropriate sequence.
And this was updated since I purchased a trailer. This has Bluetooth now, and has all your info as far as your charging system, correct?
Yeah. So I guess our electrical system has evolved a lot. Certainly since I got here, we have, I would say, hardened and made much more robust just the core electrical system connections and things like that, but also embraced the technology that kind of comes along with these kinds of applications where you have to keep track of your battery power, solar charge controllers. You have to have a solar charge controller to go with your rooftop panels. It's part of the deal in order to manage the charge profile that has to go against the battery that you have, the right chemistry. So lithium battery versus an AGM deep cycle battery. So those charging activities, if you're plugging in, it's going to be your onboard charger that's going to charge the battery. If it's sunny out, it's that. We now have a DC-DC charger, which is something that allows a vehicle to gracefully and appropriately charge your battery. Kind of the last of the three legs of the stool, I guess, is kind of how we think about it, where you can plug in, but if you can't plug in, now, if you got 2 out of 3, you're usually in good shape, right? So, again, if it's not sunny.
That's right, you always have options that way.
Yeah. And, something like the battery monitor gives you the ability to really, in real time, see what's going on, what the draw is. I encourage people to kind of start to get familiar with how much does a given light or a given component draw. There's a refrigerator draw when the compressor's running, those kinds of things, so that you just have a sense, right, of where you're at, what's your runway left, and you can manage then your consumption. Right? Don't be, you know how you try to get your kids to turn off the light switch? It's even more important when you're out camping.
Limited resources.
Yes, yes. So you have limited supply of that. Capture it when you can. Use it sparingly as best you can. So that's kind of this. We call it the guts, but it's kind of I'll call it the wall, kind of beginning vertical structure that then allows us to do a barn raising. So we get the frame, we get things prepped on the frame.
But this is where it starts. This is kind of one of the first pieces that are put together.
The one thing that does get prepped over there, just because it's a bulky item and heavy item, is the frame. So we kind of prep it on the floor, get the axle on, run conduit for propane. And
speaking of frame, you have two options. You have aluminum and steel. Which one's more popular?
The aluminum is more popular. I'm not a material scientist, but there's people absolutely would argue that steel is a stronger material from a vibration stress, right? Aluminum being more brittle, but designed in the right strength aspects. This is not something that is putting high stress, deflection stress on an aluminum member in this frame. It's kind of everything is overbuilt, I would say.
Yeah.
Right?
That's your intention, right? Is to have that margin of safety.
Yeah. We just, nobody wants a problem while they're out in a place where it's hard to get help, right? So.
I like the aluminum for two reasons, because not only is it lighter, but it doesn't oxidize and I never have to paint it.
Correct. Yeah. So I mean, a steel frame is something that you're going to have to do a bit of maintenance on. Especially if you're out doing a lot of gravel road driving, you're going to protect. Eventually, you get some little dings in the powder coat. Touch up is a good thing to do. Otherwise, it becomes a spot where you can get some corrosion beginning, and it's not going to compromise the functional strength. It's an aesthetic thing, but yeah. So those are things to consider. Base option is the steel. It's an upgrade to the aluminum if you want to do that. And as you mentioned, weight is one of the most notable things. So when people are having maybe some angst about what's my tow weight versus my vehicle tow capacity, tongue weight and stuff, one of the levers that you have at your disposal is the aluminum frame. There's a lithium battery. That would be another one that just drops things down a bit. Otherwise, you're generally in an additive mode with option adds and obviously your gear and your food, your beverages, those things. So you have to think about the whole package in the end, and we can help you through all those things. Right? We've got live calculation capabilities on the order form that lets you kind of see what's going on as you choose.
And that's a huge question for a lot of people. I see them asking all the time. They kind of have anxiety over what kind of tow vehicle should I get? What should I use? Which one's going to be the right one? And so, we're generally a lot of us are towing with smaller cars because that's what fits well with a teardrop trailer in general.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting when you just have general conversations with the public at large. How much does this thing weigh? And you tell them it's like, well, 1,500 pounds dry-ish is probably, if you're gonna, get your options in there. So let's just use that as a ballpark reference. That's below most tow vehicles' tow capacity. I mean,
that's a pretty light trailer.
I mean, yours can probably tow
3,000.
Yeah, so he's got an Outback with a V6.
So still a big margin of safety.
Big margin of safety. So. I guess there's, that consideration. Again, one of the intents is it's easy to tow with your everyday vehicle. With some awareness of what that capability is in your specific vehicle. You can park it in your garage. You don't have to have a bunch of things that are dedicated to the vehicle itself, right? The trailer itself, big garages and off-site storage. To be spontaneous and hook up and go is a wonderful thing.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So, think of those things, I guess, as being part and parcel of the intent and target of what we want this thing to be able to do for you. It shouldn't be hard. Camping should be simple.
It should be fun too,
It should be fun, right? It should be fun. There's a ton of simplicity built into this trailer. Even though it's got the various systems and so forth, it's not a terribly difficult thing to use, right? It's designed with a lot of thought.
Yeah, tell me about it. We talked about that earlier of how much thought really went into this trailer, and It's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I
Yeah.
love it so much.
If you got a good idea, just tell us.
Yes.
Maybe
leave,
you'll
in,
see.
leave in the comments below, right?
Right.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the first half of the Vistabule factory tour. Steve was gracious with his time and did such a good job explaining what goes on in this pre-assembly process for the Vistabule trailer. So stick around, because in the next video, which is the second half of the factory tour, we're going to go into the assembly room and see how these parts are put together and see the finished product of the trailer. What's really cool is they have a bay where they actually test the waterproofability of the trailer, which I thought was really cool. So stick around for the next video to watch the second half of the Vistabule factory tour. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you like this channel and like to see more stuff like this, please subscribe. I'm gonna head out right now because I'm packing my trailer for my first official Vistabule camping trip since I'm home. We'll talk to you soon, and adventure often.